There we go. Hola, hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. It's
Nice to
finally
finally
it's
meet
weekend.
you.
Yeah, finally after trying at Sturgis.
That was a bit of a shit show for me on my end.
Oh, I can
But
imagine. It seemed like it's crazy.
let me do a little quick intro for about you for everybody tuning in so they can kind of get to know who you are, and then we'll jump right into it.
Awesome.
So, fellas, today we're sitting down with a fighter who's got heart, grit, and something to prove. She's walked through fire in and out of the ring. She's made weight when others didn't. She stood tall in Sturgis, South Dakota, and now she's locked in for BKFC Fight Night in Hammond, Indiana on October 18th. But Marisol Ruelas is not just another name on the card. She's coming back sharper, tougher, and hungrier than ever. We're talking about her roots, her rise, and what happens when a woman steps into the ring with nothing to lose and everything to fight for. Ladies and gentlemen, Marisol Ruelas, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. That was awesome.
So you're in Chicago right now?
Yeah. I live in the west suburbs of Chicago, but
Uh-huh. And so Hammond, Indiana is not actually, it's not too far from Chicago, right?
no, it's 30 minutes maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's right down the street.
So for people just getting familiar with you, can you help us paint the picture? Where did you grow up, and what was life like before you ever stepped into a ring?
Um, I grew up in Chicago. I was raised in like the Logan Square, Hermosa area my whole life. CPS, elementary, high school. Um, I mean, my life was. I had a pretty decent upbringing. My parents were very strict with me, very strict. But they let me do like all the sports and all of the things. Like I went from being the only girl on the football team to the only girl on the wrestling team, and that's what led me to fighting, and then essentially somehow ending up in bare knuckle. But yeah, that's just how it all started in a very short description.
So were you always a fighter at heart growing up, or did combat sports enter your life later on as a way to maybe channel something deeper?
um I think it has always been a thing. I didn't grow up in the South Side, but I did grow up kind of like in where there was fights left and right. I mean, I had fights in elementary school. I had like actual fights in middle school, high school. So it's just something that you just had to grow up knowing. My dad had tried to teach me a few self-defense ish in case I had to fight on the street.
Mhm.
So it's always been a thing. I grew up boxing my brother, who is my twin. So it was nice having that. And then I guess it was just kind of I wanted to do boxing in high school, and somehow I ended up in an MMA gym. So that's how things came about.
And you referenced the South Side of Chicago. So for people that don't know, I guess the South Side is a rough side.
It is. I didn't go to a neighborhood school. I went to a selective enrollment school. So there was kids from all over the city, north side, east side, west side. If you live maybe north of North Avenue, you can walk to school. There is no like teenagers having guns, and there's gangs. When I grew up there was a huge gang rivalry stuff. It was in my middle school. But the South Side definitely has, those kids that don't have the resources, and they don't have the privilege that other schools on the North Side, on the East Side, or on the upper side of Chicago do have.
What were you doing before fighting full time, career wise, passion wise, and what pulled you into the world of bare knuckle?
Um, I've always worked career-wise. My career was always fighting. Since Combate Americas, I was fortunate enough to start off with a really strong promotion. But I was an EMT for a very long time. because that helped me train full time. That helped me train for I don't know, like I was able to leave for a month to Washington State to have a camp. Then I worked in corrections as a medical assistant, and that also helped me. And then I tried to be a corrections officer for some time. Actually, I just quit being a corrections officer because it wasn't going to let me have time with my child and train full time and, you know, train appropriately for a fight. So now I am fully fighter right now, which I love. I'm very, I did power slap, and that led me to bare knuckle because the first, I want to say 3 offers that I got for power slap were all bare knuckle girls. And I am all for, like, I want the nitty gritty. Like, I want to be scarred up. I want a bloody fight. So, and I knew that I like to be thrown in the sharks. So when that came about, I was like, dude, like, this is a sign I should do bare knuckle. And I am one of the younger females on the roster. So like my MMA manager was like, no, like, hell no. My coach didn't want me to do it, but I think my whole
because
career,
of the fighter's experience.
no, I think it's just because they still saw me as an MMA fighter and they wanted me to keep doing MMA. And it's just safer to do MMA. Bare knuckle, obviously, like, I have a scar from one fight. So, I think it's the, like, no, you need to save your face. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about my face. If I gave a fuck, I would not be fighting. So, yeah, I think after power slap, it was like, you know what? After doing this, you can't tell me shit. Like, I think that's when I started doing what I wanted rather than like let somebody else take the wheel of my career. And I did it, and I loved it, and now I'm dedicated to bare knuckle.
Awesome. What was going through your mind right before you stepped into the BKFC square circle for the first time? Was it excitement, hesitation, or maybe a little bit of both?
It was, I wish I had, like, you know, when in a movie where like you see somebody, but then you can hear their thoughts. I wish in that moment, because I had a lot of unfortunate things happen left and right, and it just kept adding. And so they have you come out, you step on the scale, and there's this banner, this big like thing that they push out of the way for you to come out once your name is called. And I was like, oh no, I'm freaking out. Like, I'm about to freeze. And I was like, don't freeze, don't freeze, don't freeze. And then for whatever reason, I was like, why am I doing this? And then I just felt all the nerves and all of that like tension just kind of flush out of me and be like, you're doing this because you want to do it. Like, why? Like, because you want to go in there and have fun. And I think when my song started playing, I was like, yeah, let's go. Like, let's go. So it was just like the best feeling in the world. It was actually really cool because it's Sturgis, so it's outdoors. There's motorcycles, there's people, there's like smoke, and it was really, really good. It was the best feeling that I've had in any competition that I competed in.
Awesome. And it was a record-setting crowd for BKFC as well. I think it was
Yeah,
like
I heard that, which is
22,000 people
awesome.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people see BKFC and think it's just about toughness. But what does it really take to be mentally ready to fight bare knuckle?
Oh my God. I think, like, obviously a lot of people have even mentioned to me like, oh my God, that's so tough. But I think the mentality of it is you have to have mental toughness, because you can train all day, you can practice your movement, you can practice your combos, but going in there knowing that you might come out with having to get 20 stitches on you, you have to be mentally ready to go to war. Like it's like a lot of people say that in MMA and any other sport, and yeah, that's very true. But going into bare knuckle, knowing that you might break your nose, you might like it's just a mental state where you have to kind of like understand and know and prepare for the worst case scenario. You also have to actually really, really enjoy the sport, because there's no way you're doing this because you, even for money, like there's no way you're doing this shit for money. Like there's other things you can do than bare knuckle.
So let's talk about BKFC 79. You faced Shyanna Bintliff, and the fight ended in round 2 by TKO. Can you walk us through what happened in that second round? What shifted in her favor?
Oh my God. I couldn't. So
Because you came out strong.
I did. I did, mostly because I was very upset. Like I came in with emotion. After I calmed myself down, I think in my head I was ready to show that I'm not somebody that's gonna get dogged. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I knew that my technique was better, but when I realized that she was just that long, I was like, shit, I can't do anything but jab overhand. And that was working for me until the second round. I think she realized that that's what I was doing. So the more distance she gave me, I was landing those. But when she started closing in and like she got close at where I was against the ropes, and in my head I was like, fuck, just swing. And you see that I'm just fucking swinging, and then she's swinging, and then I'm swinging. And I think at that point I was like, I need to get out of the ropes. And then I felt blood just like gushing through my face. And I was like, okay, that's fine, we're fine. I didn't feel it. Like, it looked brutal, but I felt I was good. And then I think I backed up into the ropes, wiping my eye because I couldn't see shit. Like there was just blood in my eye. So I'm like trying to like blink, but then swing, but move, and then she hit like a really good punch under like on my orbital area, and I couldn't see. It hurt like a mother effer, like it hurt bad. And I was like, shoot. So then I remember I was like, just close in, close in, close in. So then I took the knee, I went down, and I felt like the sting. I felt everything. I felt the blood. Just like in that moment, there was so many emotions that I didn't care for the 8 count. I didn't care. I was like, oh, maybe just wait for the 8 count. I remember very clearly I went this like to the ref before he even started counting, because I was like, I can't. Like if I take another one, I'm going to drop, and I rather not embarrass
Play it
myself.
safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And so she was, you came up in weight class for that fight, right?
Yeah, two weight classes.
2 weight classes?
Yeah.
Why? Is that what they were offering you, or?
So when I signed for, because I have a multi-contract with them, and when I signed, I told the manager, who I had just met, by the way, I was like, anywhere between 120 to 130. 35, I will take it, but it's pushing. And then he was like, okay, cool. I was supposed to fight in July. July. And we were in July and still nothing. And I was like, all right, well, I mean, I'm not fighting on a 2 weeks notice. So then he calls me. He's like, hey, I have some offers for you. There's one offer that I really, really like for you, but I'm still waiting. Cool. The end of July comes and he's like, okay, I have an offer for you, but before you say no, look at her fights. And I was like, I never say no. So like for somebody to tell me that, I was like, there's a catch here. So like, we'll see. So he gave me the opponent, and he was like, it's at 145. At that time, I was cutting to get ready for 125 because I was supposed to fight in July. So I was like 143, 140. And I was like, dude, I don't even walk at 45. Like, he's like, yeah, but just watch her fights. So I was like, okay. I watched, she was in BYB for 2 fights, And I tell her all the time, like, I give her so much credit because I guess she changed coaches, who's actually the coach of my coach now. But because she improved a lot. I saw those 2 fights and I was like, oh, like, she's bad. So, like, to be fair, if you see her fights, like, it was really bad. Like, she gassed out. Her opponents were even worse. So I was like, okay, if I stick and move, just stick and move, just keep moving, then I'll be fine. But I was like, I don't know. I lied to my coach about the weight. I told him it was at 35 and not 45. He saw the fights thinking that it was at 35. So he was like, okay, fine. Like, she looks a little big. I was like, yeah, but it's at 35. So he's like, okay, like, fine. And then I still wasn't convinced, but then he's like, it's at the Sturgis card. It's one of the biggest card that BKFC, like, puts on throughout the year. It's a really good opportunity. And I was like, you know, like, the worst that can happen is what happened, honestly. But, like, I was like, ugh. So I was like, all right, fine, let's do it. F it, we'll do it. And he's like, really? Okay, cool. I'll get everything in. And that's how I ended up fighting at 45. Never again.
In round 1, you dropped her early on, and the way you stared her down when she was laying on the canvas, for me, was a highlight of the night. In that moment, what were you telling yourself mentally, and what was going through your mind? Did you feel like you had it in the bag right there?
I mean, I was hoping she wouldn't get up, but I knew that she was gonna get up. She's a very smart fighter. But in my head, like, I talked to a lot of people. I even talked to she fought Taylor in
the Taylor's opponent that night. I forget.
Yeah. We were in the back. She was in my trailer, whatever the fuck that was. She was in my trailer. And she was like, if you knock your opponent down, nothing they do will win them that round unless they knock you down. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay. So I think in that moment when I knocked her down, I was like, okay, this round's mine. I just have to make sure I keep moving the rest of this round. So that's why after that, it was just jab and move, jab and move. And then coming into the second round, I think I didn't have a corner, really. Tony and Oscar were my corner. Oscar was that was his first time cornering ever. He's never done any other except for, like, amateur kickboxing. And Tony I had just met. So, like, I didn't know how to tune out their voice. I didn't know what was going on. I feel like had they gave me some kind of, like, this is working, this is not working, maybe I would have lasted a little longer. But yeah, no, going into the second round, I think that's when I started feeling the punches, and that's when I was like, if I don't land another overhand, I don't know how I'm gonna bring her down again. So.
Oh, you definitely showcased some power right there.
Yeah, see, at least I made my point across.
And you stared her down like. Are you gonna have for your upcoming fight? Because I believe I seen him on Instagram. A Roscoe Elite. Is that who you work with right now, coach-wise? They're going to be in your corner for this fight?
Yeah, I believe so. He ended up being my manager after that.
So it's brand new. You weren't working with them before?
No. I was with Tyler Powell. I wasn't even with him. He was the one that offered me bare knuckle, and it wasn't like, oh, you have to sign with me. This is just like, hey, I'm recruiting people, do you want to sign? Yes or no. Mm-hmm. Got me some fights, whatever. And then I met Tony because he was with Paco, his fighter. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, hey, I noticed you're by yourself. If you need anything or anybody, let me know. I have a fighter, I'm a manager, whatever. And at the time I was like, oh no, my coach is coming later. He ended up not being able to get to Sturgis. So yeah, and then I was like, actually, I might need you. And then after that, we talked, and then he's the one that actually mentioned right after the fight, it's like, hey, there's a Hammond card in October. And I was like, oh my God. I think he just wanted me to go watch. But I was like, can I be in it?
Yeah.
And they were like, are you sure? And I was like, fuck yeah. So,
Yeah, you
and then
get
I
to pull
fought
out the
again.
hometown crowd over there.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's been so long since I fought at home. I'm gonna
Uh,
take advantage and come in.
your opponent missed weight by more than 7 pounds, Shyanna, while you made featherweight, coming up in weight. Did her weight advantage affect your game plan at all or your mindset stepping into the ring that night?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. I knew the whole camp since agreeing to the fight. I knew she was stronger and I knew she was longer. Um, so that already, I was just kind of like, I have to play the fast game. Um, but then when she missed weight, I was like, I'm not gonna not fight. Like I came all the way over here to fight. And I honestly, she would if she missed 10 pounds, I would have still fought her. But I think when it didn't hit me until like I was actually in the fight where I was like, oh shit, like oh shit. I feel that when I punch her is not the same when she punches me because I'm like kind of it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like even knocking her down, she got up easily rather than if I would have knocked down somebody my weight, they probably would have
Stayed
missed the
down.
impact. Yeah, they would have stayed down 100%. Um, but yeah, I mean, it prepared. I honestly, I feel like in the moment, I was just kind of fighting with emotion. And after that fight, I was like, well, fighting at my weight class, nobody is gonna like scare me. I'm gonna go in there and like if I can go against a girl like that, and Cheyenne is a decent fighter, like she's a good fighter. She has a really good training coach. Um, for me to go somebody against my weight, my size, especially my hometown, I'm good.
Dominance.
Yeah, 100%.
um, so you have this fight coming up October 18th in Hammond, Indiana. How are you approaching this fight mentally?
Mentally, I'm good. I think I've had a really, really good camp, especially basically finishing a camp and then coming right back into camp. I added, I have new coaches now. Coach AJ, who is very known in the bare knuckle game, has one of his students that coaches here at Champions Boxing. And I started working with Coach Bravo, and she has been amazing. So like all the little things that I missed as an MMA fighter transitioning to boxing, now I have. So not only do I have a good team, I feel mentally ready and prepared. Food wise, like I have meal prep, I have all the support in the world. Like this camp has been amazing and it's good, and my speed's there, my power's there, the weight cut has been really, really, really good. So I'm comfortable walking into something that I know now. Like it's not the first time stepping into bare knuckle and you're like, shit, I don't know how I'm gonna take a
Yeah.
hit. Like, so yeah.
And you're fighting at your natural weight class?
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm finally fighting at I did power slap, combat jujitsu. I did all of these things at a higher weight class. And now finally I am in my weight class, and I'm excited to see the things that I can do against an even opponent.
Me too. Without giving away your full strategy, what kind of fight are you looking to bring Saturday night? More pressure, more precision, more controlled chaos?
I think it's gonna be like very, very controlled chaos. I like to stand and bang, which is how I ended my MMA amateur career. And I think my coach was like, "You're taking too much damage. You need to crispen up and go grapple." But now I love to hit, and I love to like bring a bloody fight in here. And now that I have the speed, the technique, and the power, I think it's all going to come together, and it's going to be a really good, chaotic, gritty fight. So I'm so
Looking forward to it. What do you know about your opponent, and do you see any gaps in her style that you believe you might be able to expose early on?
I mean, she has a story. We all have a story, and I think that's what makes her grind, and that's what pushes her to be a fighter. And obviously, she wants this. She's also a mom, so I know that aspect of it. The only gaps that I see is that she's never faced anybody like me. I've seen like a clip of her fight, but I've seen the opponents she's had, and I know for a fact nobody has punched her as hard or as fast or as technical as I'm going to. And she also doesn't have the bare knuckle experience. Like just
Oh,
that
this is her
alone.
debut?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't familiar with her before, that's why.
Yeah. So like just again, when it's your bare knuckle debut, you don't know how you're gonna handle, like a bare punch. It's very different. It's a different kind of pain, and some people can handle it and some people don't. Some people think they can and
Yeah.
they don't. So
Yeah, I've definitely seen that where people get hit and they're done early
yeah, they're like, oh no, this is not boxing. Like, no, it's not.
on. When you're not in camp, not in the spotlight, what keeps you grounded? What's something about you that fans would never guess based on how you fight?
um oh my God. I I mean, I think I say it over and over and over again. I do all things with my kid. Like we go to like indoor playhouses, and I'm like under the, like, I don't know if they have like a kids empire in other places, but it's kind of like this big jungle gym, and he's only 3, so I have to follow him around, and this kid has energy. Like, if I don't know, it has to be father's genes or something, because he can do laps and laps and laps and laps. So that's another workout. But like, I'm like grinding and like climbing under mats and kids jumpy things. So that's another workout. But that's all we do. When I'm not doing any of that, we
Being a
go.
mom.
Yeah, I'm a mom. I am a very present mom, and zoos and like just all of that. Um, I am I like to learn about the body because that's been my job forever. So I do study a lot on like anatomy and like the smart people stuff, I guess. I don't know.
And
The
which body
boring
parts
stuff.
you could break down in your fight.
Yeah. I like drawing blood, you know. I learned how to find those very, very sketchy veins that you don't know if you're gonna get it or not. So that's about it.
For any young woman or young man who might be watching this right now who's struggling to believe in themselves, what would you tell them?
Um, I would tell them to find their why. I know a lot of people, they're like, well, it's hard because I come into the gym and like get beat up, or I'm just not fast, or I'm not this. And it's like, we all started that. We all have been there. We all have struggles. We all have, we have our own, things that we have to get through in life. But at the end of the day, um, finding something that you make little goals, right? Like, jump rope 2 minutes today. So what? It's 2 minutes that you probably didn't do yesterday. And then tomorrow make it 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So I think people need to kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. I've talked about mental health a lot. So I think a lot of people need to find mentally why. Why do they feel this? What makes them feel better? What makes them feel worse? Why? And find confidence. I think a lot of things are all confidence. Again, you know, like if you're not confident in yourself, in anything, you won't be able to keep doing the things you like to do.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Marisol. Make sure you tune in to her fight this Saturday night, October 18th in Hammond, Indiana for BKFC Fight Night. It has been a pleasure. If you have anything you want to plug or anything you want to shout out right now, you're more than welcome to do so.
No, I just want to thank everybody that's been following me for so long, since my day one career start, all my new sponsors, all my new coaches, all my coaches, Coach Mac, who has been the rock of my career, Coach Bravo, who is new to my career, but she has made an impact in my life, my life decisions, and then all my little family, my little village that understands I'm a mom and an athlete, and they're more than happy to help me with that. So
awesome. Well, thank you again for your time, and we look forward to seeing you fight this Saturday night.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Take care.